Hey, this is Mike from Junkyard Crafts and Builds, and today we're going back into Hell's Kitchen to talk about the Marvel Television Daredevil Born Again, Daredevil, and Frank Castle Punisher figures now out at your local Targets. That's where I found these. I want to thank Matt Partsformer, co-host of the FigureAction podcast, which is available every Thursday night at 9 p.m. I highly recommend you join us in for a show, have some laughs, talk about some toys, help us get to 1,000 subscribers. So again, that's every Thursday at 9 p.m. So let's talk about these guys. We saw these renders earlier this year, right as the show was kind of starting or already through one of the two. I can't remember, but the renders themselves looked really cool. And now that we have them in hand, we're going to see if they actually live up to the renders hype. So looking at each box, we'll point out at Frank's here. We've got this nice open window showing the figure, most of his accessories, Daredevil Born Again, Punisher, Daredevil on the top. We have this nice piece of art of Frank in silhouette. On the back, same thing, short bio, same image, Punisher. There's a UPC for Frank if you're looking for him. Matt's the same thing, again, open window, Legends, Daredevil, Daredevil Born Again, Forward Plus. Nice image on the back here of Matt. Same one on the side, different one here on the bottom. Shocker. And there's the UPC for Daredevil. That's it for the boxes. Let's get them out and check them out. And here we have Punisher and Daredevil out of their packages. And the first thing to note is that these are pretty much all new sculpt for both figures. Looks really nice in hand. Now, first impressions are these feel really premium. They feel really substantial. Let's see, who do we want to look at first a little more closely? Let's look at Daredevil. So we're going to put Frank to the side, and let's bring Matt up here front and center. All right, looking close here at Matt, we can definitely see like there's a nice texture across the entire sculpt. This feels like it's a little bit like an overlay, but actually no, it's just the new torso in and of itself. The head looks really good, really close to what Charlie Cox looks like, especially with that 5 o'clock shadow basically across the board here. That's a little bit better. Now we can definitely see him. Again, really nice texture across the entire sculpt here. Eyes might be a little bright, or maybe we need to have like a little more of a metallic sheen across them just to give that look. But overall, I think the sculpt in and of itself is really nice. Torso, like I said, nicely sculpted. Looks almost exactly like the suit worn sometimes. You know, it's all, there's not much paint except for the face here. Everything else is kind of molded plastic. Would be nice to have a couple accents across here. We got his holster for his billy clubs, gauntlets, knee pads, boots. Yeah. So, nice look overall for him. So, yeah. So we'll put Matt back and let's bring out Frank. And we'll deal with the elephant in the room right off the bat, and that is the face isn't exactly like the renders. He's definitely got this Jersey Shore poof going on. It is Bernthal's face and likeness. I think it's somehow the sculpt got really weird. Like he's got like a droopy eyebrow here on this side, and he just looks sad. He doesn't look menacing. He doesn't look fierce. He's emo. Hi guys, I'm punishing you. Anyway, the rest of the sculpt on the body here, we have this really nice, accurate Punisher skull across the torso. Again, they can't put the full skull because of real life reasons or whatnot, but we do see that they did tampo the buttons and bobs here on the plate armor. So that's really nice. We have his Punisher symbol here, or whenever he took on the Kingpin's corrupt police force, I think that's some of the stuff they were wearing. American flag on this side. Plate carrier on the back. Again, this is all really nicely new sculpt work here. We have a sheath for his combat knife. We have sculpted in magazines, which we'll talk about a bit. We got a holster for his sidearm. Nice baggy, you know, textured combat pants. Got his kneecap protectors, and then his boots. Yes, these are modern day boots, kind of what we see with Action Force. So yes, these type of boots are real. Sorry for those that hate Balaverse. We got our rolled up sleeves or forearms on both sides. And again, it's the head. So that's kind of like my quick look at the aesthetics of both these guys. Why don't we check out the accessories next? So for accessories, we're going to start with Daredevil, and we're going to start with the hands. Out of the package, he comes with a pair of item holding hands for his billy clubs. These are both on, let's see, vertical hinge. Yep, vertical hinges for both hands. So that's nice. For alternate hands, we have another set of asymmetric hands for our figures from Hasbro. Why, oh why? We only have one fist hand, and that is on the right side, and that is on a horizontal hinge. And then we have this open gesture hand for many things, also on a horizontal hinge. I would have just loved to have sets of hands versus one of each, because now you're forcing me to pose a certain way, and that's not fun. Next, we have Matt's billy clubs, and these actually are very well painted here and nicely sculpted. We get this nice texture on the grips here, and then kind of rough on the bottom there, some flashing, but overall really nice. And we have some pegs inside on the tops, and they both fit very nicely in the holster. Little loose to say least, but you have that little stopper on the bottom to keep them from falling all the way through, and that looks really nice there. And he does hold them quite nicely in his item holding hands, and it looks really, really nice. So the final accessory for Matt is this semi flexible line that attaches to both the billy clubs to kind of show some line attack action, and they just plug into each of the billy clubs in that peg on the top, and it looks like they plug in really well, and that really brings a lot of character into this figure by having these billy clubs attached. I really like it, even if it's not a bendy wire like we got with the imports. I think this has enough flexibility to really set off some awesome photography. So that's Daredevil. Let's go ahead and bring out Punisher. With Frank, we're going to go a little backwards. We're going to bring out his weapons first. And the first thing we have here is this small hatchet. Nice sculpt. I mean, you got some texture on the blade there, wraps around the handle. It is very gummy, just FYI. And he can put it in this hand and hold it. His trigger finger hand, hold it there for a little bit of hatchet man action. Or in the promo pictures, they showed it in this open hand, where he's just kind of carrying it, I guess you want to say, like that. Not the greatest, in my opinion, but there's that. No storage for it anywhere. But what we do have is his combat knife. Again, black plastic with a gunmetal paint on the grip here. Again, also very pliable. Has a sheath to slide that in, which I guess the gumminess helps when we go into articulation. All right, his final weapon, which boggles my mind considering the sculpt with all the other magazines, he comes with a pistol. I'm not sure if we've seen this one before, but it's got an extended mag, and it's blast effect compatible. It is soft. And it also goes into his holster here on the side, and it fits in really nicely though. Definitely blends into the rest of the motif. Now, we said hands. And like I said, we have a trigger hand and a item open hand. We also come with an additional trigger hand for his left hand. So yes, we have a pair of trigger hands, but only one fist, and that's for his right hand. So again, give me more hands, give me more weapons. Not that I don't have enough with Valiverse type of weapons and stuff, but it would just be nice to have hands across the board. And going back to Matt, one accessory that would have been nice to have is an unmasked head. So anyway, we'll put Matt back and we're going to roll right into articulation for Frank. So we have this double ball peg neck system, which gives you a ton of range. You can look up that far. You can give it a little more give if you want. You can look down fairly decently, so you can get that nice brooding, sad look. But again, I love that neck movement. Really nicely done. No butterflies, but we have a peg going straight in, and then we have this cap around the shoulder, kind of similar to McFarlane and such, but allows you to manipulate it a little bit here and there and keep it covered down. What I do like with this is, instead of having the usual Marvel Legends droopiness, you can actually push these up and give him some actual girth to his shoulders. So that's nice. Rotates all the way around. Ball peg, like I said, in the shoulder. We have bicep rotation. We have double jointed, pinless, and tight elbows that gets you that type of range. We have obviously a horizontal hinge on this open gripping hand. Wrists seem a little small, but whatever. Same on the, all the same motions on this side. We have a ball peg here in the upper torso that you can go back that far. Forward, not that much, but some nice pivots. So if you want to have him angling, dangling, you can do so. And that's where you get your rotation on the upper torso. And you also have a lower torso twist here, kind of tight and gets gummed up with the utility belt. But between the two, you can get a lot of articulation there. Legs, no drop downs, and you can only get up that far. And again, you have to manipulate the belt around because it's going to bend this, but that's why this is such a soft rubber. So if you have him wanting to sit in a vehicle, you can go like that. We have thigh rotation, double jointed pinless knees that go back that far. No boot swivel for T-Man 978. So, but we have a click down, 2 clicks up, and some pivot. So yeah, I don't understand Hasbro at times. When they make so many different figures and you have a brand new sculpt, why not just put all the modern articulation into this figure? People want boot cuts, not just ankle rotation. People want range. So you had a ball peg going into the upper torso, why not put it into the lower torso and give us something? You can hide it with the belt. But I mean, overall, he has really good range, and I think, again, the selling point is the articulation that you can get here on the neck. And let's see how our Urban Ninja is here with Daredevil. So get him in position to start off. All right, for Daredevil, we do have a ball peg system here as well. He can look up that far, look down really well. Let's see what he has under the hood. So he's doing the ball peg hinge combo. Neck is really long. I just noticed that now by taking that off. So would make for some interesting head swaps. Same type of shoulder joint for him as well as Frank. You can get pretty much a Y pose, which is cool. I love that you can slide these up. That really helps the silhouette for him. Yep, biceps. Yep, elbows. Like I said, we are on vertical hinges for the item holding hands. Let's see how well his torso is. So, a couple of detents in there. It's kind of stiff. Ugh. Not really too much back. Get his arm up to see. And that much forward. So maybe you can manipulate that, heat them up, and cut it a little bit more if you want a little more rotation. One big detent to the side for your side twist here. And like I said, you can go all the way around if you wanted to. And he also has a waist swivel, which is nicely hidden under this belt piece here. No drop downs again. Let's see. We can get up that far. I didn't test with Frank, but there's your split. Not great. You know, you should be able to get a little further, because if you try to get him to do a kick, you know, that's basically what he's going to look like. Thigh. Really smooth double jointed knees that go all the way back for him. Some people are saying there's boot swivel on this guy, but I cannot get him. I heated him up already here on the to see if these will loosen up, and they are not moving at all. So if it does move, let me know in the comments. I'll try the boiling water instead of the heat gun, see if that helps. But we have a nice generous pivot down, or swivel down, hinge, whatever the terminology, down, up, pivot on the side. Anyway, I think between the two, I like Matt's articulation points a little bit more. He seems to have a little more fluidity in the figure. So, cool. Let's see what he looks like with some other characters. So for Matt, the first and foremost combo I wanted to kind of put up here is the Matt Murdock lawyer in the suit figure from Spider-Man. Is it No Way Home? Yeah, I think so. Last one. They look good together, especially, again, they're both pinless and such. I did try swapping out the heads, and I lost that footage, but the head for Matt Murdock sits really high and awkward on the Daredevil figure, so it wasn't even worth showing. And to spread the MCU love, here is Daredevil with a variety of MCU figures from across the years and across the MCU universe, movie and TV series. And for some higher end import love, here's the Daredevil Born Again Daredevil with the Mafex comic book Daredevil and the Mezco Daredevil Netflix version of the figure. For Frank, we know pretty much that the figures that I just shown for Daredevil were going to fit in with him, but we threw a couple other figures in here in regards to the Hasbro classified ESU policeman, and then Order from the Law and Order G.I. Joe team. And just like Daredevil, I wanted to give a little import love here to the Punisher, which is showing him next to my Mezco 112 Netflix version of Frank Castle. Again, you can't really swap the heads because, at least with the Mezco, this is all neck and head one piece. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it'll fit as well into the neck piece there for the Punisher, but it is what it is. This was my previous placeholder. Now I might use him a little bit more, but again, the faces is really where this comes into play, because he just looks mean. A mean man. So final impressions of the Daredevil Born Again Punisher and Daredevil figures. I am satisfied with these guys. I like them from the renders, and having them in hand, I'm not disappointed completely. There are some things, of course, I wish were included or switched out or something with each of these figures. First and foremost, give me pairs of hands. Don't give me this asymmetric crap. An unmasked matte head would have been really cool. Especially with all the advances Hasbro has been doing with digital printing and stuff, and they can only have done better than this version right here. So hopefully, you know, maybe with the season 2, we'll get another release of him with an unmasked head. The head sculpt for Frank, it's going to be the talk of all the tubers when they start talking about their figure. It is not close to the render per se. There are parts of John Berthal's features in this, but the big poofy hair and the eyes, I think, is the biggest thing right now. And again, more weapons. Something to actually tie to the magazines that you sculpted into the belt besides a pistol. But articulation is decent. Again, boot swivel would have been great for both these guys. And for new sculpt work, I mean, the sculpting in and of itself is nice. It's just, if you're going to incorporate modern aesthetics into new sculpts, put them all in. I do like the shoulder caps for these figures for the MCU. I mean, butterflies would have kind of cut in a little bit more. Not saying that butterflies aren't important, but I think for these guys, having that silhouette of size helps out a lot. And the necks, you know, the double ball peg. Oh yeah, I didn't do that for this one, did I? Let's do that right now. So Frank has another long neck, and he has a double ball peg system where Daredevil has the ball peg and hinge. So again, it's so weird how Hasbro engineers these guys at times. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I'm sure others will talk about it. But they are ready. They're starting to show up in Targets across the country. So hopefully you will get yours either in the wild, or if you ordered from an e-retailer, you'll get yours soon. As Hasbro continues to assault our wallets over the past 60 days at the time of this recording, where we were getting release after release after release, and I don't think it's going to stop until the end of the year. But anyway, that's my ramble. I like these guys. You should find them. You should include them into your collection. I think they'll be awesome looking for you. And that's it for the video. Again, all the jargon, like, subscribe, share this out. That'd be awesome. Leave a comment. I talk to everyone in the comments as much as I can. Just don't be a douche. But that's everything for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.